soul. She started multiple businesses, and she's in the process of opening a top-of-the-line escape room here in Newport, Rhode Island. She is a great role model for young entrepreneurs. Let's have a very warm welcome for Miss Deanna Lopes. Welcome to the BYOB, Build Your Own Business podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you want to tell everyone what you've been up to most recently?
So since November of last year, I've been working on opening up an escape room located in Newport, Rhode Island. Obviously, this is a very different type of year, so I kind of had to adjust the timeline around COVID, but now we're back and getting everything moving again.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, what happened? What stops you in COVID? Did you have everything open? Tell everyone kind of what was going on.
So right at the beginning of March, I had found a perfect location, and I signed a lease for that, and everything was about to get started. But luckily, I kind of was able to cancel the lease. I had a clause in the agreement. Things got too wild, but I could pull out. And we just kind of paused. We really didn't know what was going to happen, which was just like a really crazy feeling of just like not knowing. But we all share that, I know.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually back in the same location, so I'm pretty excited. Kind of just picking up where I left off.
It's awesome. You just got to take a break and think about everything.
Yeah.
Spend a little bit more time. I know you already had the business plan, but you're thinking more about marketing.
Yeah.
Getting your ducks in a row too.
Definitely.
Cool. So, an escape room? Where did you come up with this idea for an escape room?
So, I am from Rhode Island. I moved to California in 2015, and that's when I started to discover escape rooms.
Okay.
I went, I think with some friends the first time.
Yeah.
To a company called LA Maze Rooms. They would design amazing rooms, and I just immediately was taken back when I stepped into the room and the door closed behind me. And I'm trying to remember what the first one was. I think it was a pirate themed room, so it was just super awesome. It's just exactly what you can imagine, pirate stuff everywhere, and it's just for my mind, being someone that grew up loving to play online games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just immediately was, you just get so sucked into the theme and you become a part of it and you're looking for clues, and then I think as soon as you find your first clue and you figure out where it goes, the adrenaline kicks in. You're like, wow, this is awesome. Let's keep going, and you really want to, you really want to get through it, and I realized that I forgot about everything else for that hour.
So it's more than an escape room, you want to escape the room. It's an escape
from reality. Exactly that. Yeah, and you can't use your phone when you're in there. There's no you're not thinking about anything else. You're just communicating. You're trying to figure everything out, and it's just a blast. Yeah. Yeah.
So you fell in love with escape rooms in LA in 2015. It's 5 years.
Maybe 2016. Yeah.
All right, 4 years. So what happened? I want you to maybe touch upon what you were doing in LA with the eyes a little bit. Just get a little bit more of a background of who Deanna is.
So at the time, when I was living in LA, I was dating a photographer who was amazing. He did a lot of portraits. And I remember him bringing home a picture one day that he'd taken of this beautiful model. And I just remember she had gorgeous eyes.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be amazing if we could just make a book of just eyes, really close-up images. I actually didn't even know what that would look like. We kind of just started to play around with a macro lens with our friends. And then I remember inviting a lot of coworkers over. We kind of just did this session. I think we had 35 people.
That's
and
awesome.
We just really got in there for each one. And at the end of it, a couple weeks later, we gave everyone a copy of their image. But I was just, every single one was different.
Yeah.
And beautiful. And a lot of people, especially with brown eyes, think that there's nothing going on in there.
I'm one.
But honestly, they have so much texture, so much variety. And I was like, this is awesome. How can I make money off of this. Like a book would be great, but that's going to be a long process.
And it's not individualized.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I know where you're going with this, so let's let you keep finishing the story. But
So I started to think about how this could be at a festival or a farmer's market or something like that.
yeah,
Started playing around, and I realized I could make like lockets and necklaces and just like print out the eye and put resin over it and make it into something that people could keep. And I just spent a while like playing around with different products. Eventually we did like tapestries,
I don't know about
posters.
that. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then we kind of just started to go to small events, and we would bring a TV with us. We would take a picture of people's eye and just like blow it up on the TV so everyone walking around could also see it. We offered like instant prints, but also the opportunity to buy a necklace or keychain. I don't know. It's
Right.
making
So-
whatever. It could
Yeah, so they'd buy a necklace of like their eye,
be. Yeah.
and it would be like, it was wrapped up in like, was metal or,
Yeah, it was like a metal base with like a resin, round resin
yeah,
cover.
and I'm sure everyone loved that at festivals,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was never a problem, like getting people to come over and making sales. But I learned that I learned what valuing your product was in that time, because I was like, I don't know how to make jewelry. I'm just figuring this out
Sure.
with Bradley, my boyfriend, and definitely undervaluing my
Yeah.
time and like the process and everything like that.
So they would take the photo at the festival,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing you couldn't make it then and there, or could you?
No,
Okay.
because if you ever looked at a raw photo of an eye, there's always light reflection in it.
Right.
So we had a process where we would be able to like layer images and take out the light reflection.
Mhm.
So that whole thing took a while.
Sure.
And so I would take orders and then ship them out like 3 weeks later after they were finished.
Yeah. So you probably were so stoked you got all these sales.
Yeah.
And you'd go home and be like, oh, there's a lot of work I gotta do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't perfect. It was
That's
such a learning process for sure. But
Right.
I loved it.
Exactly.
I love that like people have really never looked at their own eyes, and I find that to be so bonkers because there's so much in there.
I know about this and I still don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't done it in
Yeah.
there, you know? So that's the first business that I know that you kind of started. I don't know if you were doing something before that in Rhode Island, but that was like kind of your first jumping point, no?
That was my first jumping point. I would
Cool.
say I've always had like the entrepreneurial mindset. I
Right.
used to sell like candy in high school, like
Yeah.
out of my locker to people.
For sure.
And then I went to Johnson Wales to study entrepreneurship. So
You get in trouble selling candy in your high
I
school?
never got in trouble now.
No. I heard of stories of people who were like making some real money selling candy and sodas and stuff.
For
and
real.
They were they got in trouble, like suspended from school for
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur. Yeah, I know how they're there. So LA, you started selling those, and then I know you ended up in Spain. How did you go from LA to Spain? Oh, what was the why? Or
Don't ask me that. Yeah. I can't really sum it down to like something specific. It just was this feeling that I needed to go somewhere
yeah.
and do something.
Did you just pick a place, or?
I'm lucky. I always give credit to these 3 women that I'm friends with who are just like powerful, independent badasses.
Yeah.
The first one, she was about to quit. She was one of my coworkers. She was about to quit and move to South Korea to be an English teacher.
Wow.
That was my reaction. I was just like,
So you
that's
should do that?
amazing.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing this? And she kind of told me like, anyone can move anywhere and teach English. You just gotta do a certificate program or something like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, I had a friend that had just done 3 months of backpacking around Europe. So she was like, Europe's amazing, it's very easy to get around, it's cheap once you're there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that as well. And thirdly, I had a friend that had lived in Barcelona already. She studied, she was in a university there for 1 year, studying abroad. And the three of them combined, it was this trifecta that made me realize that I wanted to go, and that's what I wanted, and I didn't care that I didn't know what to do when I got there. I just tried to make it work.
Yeah.
And I just went there for 3 months. I remember talking to the girl that had lived there. We were at dinner once, and I was telling her my angst to move, and she's like, just do it. Just go to Barcelona. So I remember buying a one-way ticket at like 12:30 in the morning, just like feeling so like present and so like confident in this decision. And I didn't make any plans. I just went. I had like an Airbnb for 3 days.
Yeah, so how did that go for you? Right? So like, people think like, all right, you don't have any plans. It's either you're gonna fall on your face when you get there, or you're gonna make it work. I mean, obviously you're here, you're alive, you're healthy, so you made something work. But was it scarier than you thought, or was your confidence an indicator of how it actually was gonna go, or? You had the
it was that just excitement of the unknown. It was just driving me. And I remember arriving, my phone didn't work because I didn't have a cell phone plan. I just had to like bank on like the navigation that I had figured out prior, and that feeling was just unbelievable. Like not knowing really where I am, not speaking the language, and like not knowing
I didn't even think about that.
Where I'm going. It was just awesome, and I did it. I got there, and I eventually started just like couch surfing. I met someone that I lived with for 2 months actually.
Yeah.
And then I lived on a farm for a little while as well.
How's the farm?
Farm is awesome. I did a program called WOOF, which is it's called like stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms, I believe.
Okay.
So it's kind of a program where people can just like open their doors to volunteers, and then they trade like room and board.
For like working on the farm.
Exactly. It's so
cool.
awesome.
So, like, because we have viewers, like, what is, if someone wanted to do this, what are they gonna do? Like, how do they go? They just do it. They buy the trip at the plane ticket at 12:30 in the morning, and they get an Airbnb, and they just.
Well, if you're interested in volunteering, WOOF and Workaway both have websites. Workaway is awesome because you can just type in where you want to go first, and it's free just to see all the listings. With WOOF, you have to pick a country, and you have to pay a membership for the year. It's pretty cheap. So I just bought like Spain, and I could see all the Spain opportunities.
Yeah.
But if you want to teach English, I did a program called TEFL. Well, it's TEFL International Academy, and that's where I did like a 10-week online course.
To be able to teach English?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that wasn't until later that I did.
Yeah. So you got to Spain, you worked on the farm and everything like that, and so I want to hear the rest of the story. This is awesome. I'm loving this.
So I went for just the maximum amount of time you can stay in any European country is 90 days without a visa.
Okay.
So I really just wanted to be like, all right, this is cool. I feel safe, and I came back to the U.S. I got my student visa, and then I flew back for the year, and I stayed, and I went to school every day, just learning Spanish and living my life, teaching English in the evenings.
And what did you? So you weren't back on the farm, obviously.
No, that was just a 1 month.
What were you doing for work while you were there?
I was teaching English.
That was it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like writing out my savings that I was fortunate enough to like have, but it definitely was the life of a traveler. I had to like obviously give up a lot to afford to be there.
Right.
So teaching English isn't like the most well-paying thing, but
sure.
you know that going in, and totally worth like all the sacrifices.
The experience is paid.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
So, if you're comfortable, I'd like for you to dig into like what was the catalyst of, prior to opening up the escape room.
Right.
If you don't mind, if you don't want to say, but I'd love for viewers to hear this. It's really cool. It's like almost magical. That's why I like it.
That summer before I flew back to Barcelona, I was actually helping a friend who owned a baking company. It was a vegan baking company in LA. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So originally, at the beginning, I think it was probably just about it was last January. I was thinking, I should, not last January, but 2019.
Okay.
Right?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I was thinking I should start a little baking thing and go to the farmers markets around Barcelona. And that's really what I was putting together my second like major business plan for and everything. But as time went on, I ran out of money actually to support that, and it led me to a dead end, and I didn't know what to do. So I kind of like fell into this, kind of a little bit depressed because I was like, I really want to make more money, or like I really want to stay in Barcelona, because you can, if you are an entrepreneur, there is a route that you can go through if you have a business plan and you have all this
To get
stuff.
funding and everything?
Yeah. Well, to get funding, no.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
What do you mean a route in Barcelona that's different
Like
than
to-
a route in-
Once I was thinking about once my visa expires, what am I going to do?
Oh.
So to be able to stay, I was thinking I should start a business.
Got
And
it.
that's originally what just kept me like motivated and thinking about, you know, doing something else and calling it my own. But
Good on time?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. You're
We
good.
have like 10 minutes.
Alright, awesome. Sorry.
no.
This is a good conversation. I don't want to get interrupted.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of had to just like give that up and step back a moment, and I don't know how. Like I'm just gonna tell you all of it because
No, do it. This is awesome.
it wasn't always easy being like alone in Spain, you know,
Right.
without my friends and everything. And I started realizing that I need to do more like work on myself.
Yeah.
So I really started to just dive into me and like doing yoga and like doing meditation and stuff like that, and really,
So, can you explain how that was helpful?
yeah,
Because I'm a big believer, especially in meditation. I haven't dug into yoga, but I'm sure that it is a form of meditation from what I understand.
it's a part of it.
Right. And I see a benefit. I told myself when I was in college, right, that I would try and meditate for like 30 minutes before I go to bed. And if I saw a difference in my attitude and well-being or whatever, if I just saw any type of difference that I liked tomorrow, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it pretty much ever since. And so I because the next day I'm like, oh, I can think clearer, or I can,
Exactly.
yeah, or I don't know, maybe you can expand on what I'm talking about.
I just found myself really not being present, just being kind of letting my fears take over, really afraid that I was gonna go completely bankrupt and like.
Well, these are rational fears,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So you're just like, I don't want to feel these fears even though.
But they got to the point where it affected like my relationships, or like how I wanted to be social. I didn't feel like doing a lot of stuff, and I was just not being present. That's the easiest way to say that.
Sure.
So along with yoga and meditation, I just wanted to be more present in general, and I did that by just fully accepting what I was doing in each moment. And I'll explain by saying, like, instead of waking up and being like, the first thing that comes to mind is all the stuff that I had to do for the day, I would totally change the way that I looked at it into I get to do all these things.
Right.
And even if I wanted to just like lounge around, do nothing, that's fine. Like that's awesome.
That you get to do
And
that.
this is my life, and every day I should be just so grateful that I get to like walk around and like the sun is shining, and that's, you know, I have everything I really need, and that I'm safe. And
Sure.
that there was some time that I had to just like focus on that in myself.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad I did, because I feel like as soon as I was ready and all this next stuff happened, and like it was
That's
like,
awesome.
I feel like life just like started to reveal itself more because I had taken the initiative to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
So I want to
Yeah.
speak on that a little bit. This guy that I follow on social media, Bradley, he always says, "All right, if I give you $1 billion today, you'd be so excited and so happy and ready to go spend it and do all these things with the money. You'd probably go buy a jet and go fly to anywhere you want to go in 45 minutes or whatever. You'd be so excited to live your life and do all these things, right? But what if I said that you could only have $1 billion if you don't get to wake up the following day? Would you still take the $1 billion?
what's the point? Yeah.
Well, probably not, right?
Yeah.
So, or most likely everyone's going to say no. So what that logic right there is that every time you wake up in the morning, it's worth more than $1 billion.
Exactly.
So why aren't we waking up every morning saying, "Holy crap! I won the lottery. I get to do all these stuff." It's just like another way of thinking about it. Maybe it might connect with someone, but it certainly did with me when I first heard him say that. I'm like, that's absolutely right.
I think being alive is the most precious gift you could ever get.
Oh, for sure. And I'm so grateful. I wake up next to Chelsea, my beautiful fiance, and get to see my daughter every day. It's like so awesome. So you started accepting that, and then things started opening up for you.
Magic started happening.
Magic started happening.
Cue
So
magic.
cue the magic. I want to hear about this magic.
So I will also say that like healing and doing all this work, it's not like a thing that's instant. It takes actively doing this stuff every day.
Right.
I remember waking up on this particular day. It was October 30th, and
She's like,
because Halloween's my favorite day of the year, so I remember it was the day before, and I remember just like laying in bed, and I was kind of like, I don't really want to go to my classes, like I'm happy to learn Spanish, but sometimes the classes are a bit hard and exhausting. But another voice in my head was like, just go. Like, when you push yourself to do the things you don't want to do, that something good happens.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine. Okay, fine, self, I will go. And I went to school, had a class. I was still kind of in like this funk at the end of class, and I just remember being like, okay, like, let me just walk home. It's gonna be a good day.
Yep.
And I'm on my way home, and this gentleman stops me in the street. I call him a gentleman now, but usually when men in the street like try to
in Spain
talk to me, I'm just very defensive naturally. Just being a woman, I don't know. It's
right. Yeah. That's how I'm gonna teach my daughter to be.
Yeah.
Like, if a guy stops you in the street, keep walking.
Yeah.
But
he's very cordial. He was holding like it looked like a gift for someone, and he said, his first words were like, "Hi, who are you?" And I was just like, "Who are you?" Like,
yeah,
what do you
right.
want? But he was super nice. He was like, I need to be home in like a half hour, but if you have like 15 minutes, you want to get tea.
Okay.
I'm kind of just like, screw it, why not? Like, sure.
I'll get tea, yeah.
And our conversation was just like really awesome and out there. And I realized I was talking to someone that like I could relate on with a lot of different things that like I want to do in life and things I value in life. We're talking about like spirituality,
sure,
and, like, yoga, and also ayahuasca, and like
cool.
just like really random stuff.
Have you done that before?
I haven't.
You want to? Yeah.
That's why I'm starting a business now.
No, because I'm like saving up money to go
for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I'm just kidding. Well, not kidding. That will happen. Yeah.
For sure.
So, it's not always that in the first like 10 minutes you're talking to someone that you're like, oh, like wow, okay, like.
It
sure.
rarely happens with anyone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I remember he was like, we're having a Halloween party tomorrow if you want to come. And I like couldn't. I already had plans.
It's your favorite day of the year, of course you have plans.
Yeah. I must say Halloween in Barcelona is not the same because people don't really dress up as much.
Okay.
It's more of like
Did you dress up?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. Yeah,
good. One day of the year you cannot be yourself, and like,
right.
I'm not saying I don't want to be myself, just like.
But you can be someone else just because you want to be someone else. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
So everything is like, I think it was like a week later, he was like, we're having a dinner party, having some friends over, and I went, and it was awesome, and it felt like the conversation inspired me so much, and it was just nice to be meeting people again, because it is hard to meet people when you're overseas.
For sure.
And alone, like, yeah. It again was another conversation about all the things that I care about doing, like traveling.
Is it with him or with everyone that's there?
With everyone. Actually, I think I spent more time talking to like the other people that were there. And this was more of like a small dinner party, so I think there were like 8 people.
Okay.
And it was just really awesome. Like, talking about traveling, talking about meditation. We're talking about Wim Hof. I don't know if you know
Wim Hof is crazy, man. You know about him too? Yeah, Wim Hof is wild.
Yeah.
Like breathing and being able to walk through Antarctica. Like what was a marathon? It was like 30 miles another 20-something miles.
He did a marathon in the desert without drinking water. He regularly hikes mountains in just like shorts.
Like boxer briefs. Yeah. Like not in shorts. Like
yeah.
in the negative temperatures.
I've actually gone to one of his conferences.
Oh yeah?
Done like the ice bath kind of thing.
You did the bath?
Yeah.
What?
It's crazy.
How was that?
Crazy. I mean, you have so much adrenaline when you're doing it. It's just
right.
And you're with all these people.
That's what I'm wondering. Is it like partly because you're with all these people?
Yeah, I feel like it really is at first that, and then you realize, oh, I can do it. Like, then I went home and I took cold showers every day, and I was not doing that before.
Do you still do that now?
Not as much as I should be doing, yeah.
I was doing it for a period. I did like the 30-day challenge, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like, you get like amped up.
Yeah.
After the shower, you're like, it's like more than a cup of coffee, but cleaner, you don't feel jittery. It's awesome.
That, I feel like I would love to get more into that, but maybe I should get back to this.
No, I know, yeah, but it's a cool little sidebar.
When you face, I was just gonna say, like, when you face the cold or something that you like really hate doing, and you push yourself to do that, it really changes like how you like operate. I think outside of it, it's just like a big metaphor.
Yeah, well, growth doesn't feel good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I talked to the business coach Brittany, who I introduced you to, and she's like, the good news is that everyone goes through, like when they're starting a business, like this like period where they want to quit, or they're tired of doing everything, or they feel too stressed out versus the reward that they're getting. And but the negative part about that is that it doesn't go away. Like 20 years from now, or people who've been in business for 20 years, they still feel that way. But it's a good sign because it's growth, you know what I mean? So, but I struggle with that a lot. So growth does not feel good, for sure.
Definitely.
But it makes you better.
Definitely.
You know?
So much of it is mindset and just being accepting what's coming.
That definitely makes it easier, right? Once you're just like, all right, this is riding it out. This is it.
I have to like stick my whole arm in the cold water at first, and I'm like, this isn't so bad, and I just like dive in.
You gotta hop in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta hop in. I give myself a countdown. You just do it.
Yeah. So we were having a conversation.
Sorry, yeah.
Getting super into all this stuff, and I just remember being like regularly mentioning like, yeah, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that. I want to do this. And I don't really like. It was a pretty simple night. Went home. I think I met again with his name's Nicholas. Is what I said. Like a week later for lunch, and he's kind of just like, so like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to travel. I want to learn about this. I want to learn about that. I want to open up a business. And he's like, oh yeah, like what kind of business? I was like, well, I was just working on like a baking business, but I fell short of how much I needed. And he was just like, why? Like, what happened? And just explaining this and kind of explaining how I've like already kind of checked out of doing that because I realized it wouldn't be that profitable. But I'm definitely like, I want to work on something. And I just kept saying like, I don't know what, but like I know that I can do anything. I just like looked him in the face and I'm like, I can do anything, like whatever it is. I just need to figure that out. And he just told me like, well, why don't you put together a business plan and I'll look at it. And I'm just thinking like, cool, like someone wants to just look over a business plan, he'll tweak it, he'll tell me what works, what doesn't work, more like an advisor kind of situation. Sure. So I went home and I'm like, okay, if I can do anything, put myself in this world where like money didn't matter at all, if I could do anything right now, what would I do and where would I do it? Because location, as you know, is a big part of like your business. So I went home and I think a couple days, like this is over the course of the next month that I'm thinking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'd love to open up an escape room. Like I've always joked about having like creating one myself and it'd be the best thing ever. Right. Why don't I start digging into that? And the first question was where. And I looked at the map of my home state, Rhode Island, and I was like, I just Googled escape rooms and realized there were none in Newport County. Right. I think there's one in South Kingston, I want to say. Maybe not even, maybe East Greenwich or something like that in that area. And I was lived in Newport the summer before I moved to California, and I was like, there's 3 million tourists that go there every year. The travel industry is crazy. So many people there all the time, and there's nothing to do. Like I looked up the map and it's like there's still nothing to do. There's like one arcade for kids, and there's no other entertainment besides like restaurants and hotels.
That's basically what it is, right? It's
That's all it, and the beach. So I was like, I felt it then. I was like, boom, like this would be so perfect. Let's keep diving. And I have to say, I'm so grateful to be an entrepreneur in a time where I can like go online and I can go onto Reddit, onto an escape room forum for owners, and find the answers to everything that I need. I can go onto Facebook, and I've joined 6 groups that are all for escape room owners, people all over the world, and ask questions. And I started, throwing things out there like, hey, anyone in really small towns that have a big tourism population, like Newport has 25,000 people, but 3 million tourists. So like, who's in this situation? Like, who can help me out? And between those 2 resources and also the rest of the internet, I was able to like start pulling a lot of the information I needed, and I put together a 55-page business plan. And I gave it to Nicholas.
So there you go, I did it.
Yeah.
So it took you about a month to get that from conception and...
It took me more than a month to do that.
To do this thing, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to give people an idea of like how much it really take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say it took me 6 weeks to really get.
Okay.
I did see Nick like once, maybe a couple weeks before that, just to tell him like I'm working on this, and he immediately was just like, oh, that's awesome. Like I love escape rooms.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like this will be great. And he looked it over, and we met again. He just said, I want to help you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool, but I don't know if you read, but this would take this much money, and like I have no idea where to get that money. Like I haven't legally worked in like 2 years. I've been working like online as an English teacher overseas. I have good credit, but I'm not gonna go home and like be able to get a big loan or anything or like stuff like that. And he's like, no, I'm gonna fund all of it, but I want it to work for both of us. I don't want you to be personally liable to pay me back. So let's figure out like a corporate structure, and that was in December.
Yeah.
That we had that conversation.
So let's bring it back to how you met him and that day a little bit. You woke up and you didn't want to go to class.
Didn't want to go.
But another voice in your head said, I should do it, just do it. And you told yourself, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Push yourself, and on the way back, a guy stopped and asked you who you were and grabbed some tea.
And I said yes.
And you said yes.
I said yes.
You could have said no.
Yeah.
The choices you make determine the road you take, right?
Yeah.
That is so cool. What an awesome story, right? That's like, when you told me this before, I'm like, I have to get her on this podcast because everyone has to hear this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. But it started with like some self-care, self-love, and...
It has to. Like, there's no room for anything else if you're not doing that.
Right. It's kind of like a relationship, right? Like, I mean, like how people say you can't love someone else until you truly love yourself. And, you know what I mean? I think it's like anything in life. You can't like attract some extra stuff to, grow your life outside of yourself without being truly like into who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just awesome. I want to talk about like some nitty-gritty stuff with you.
Sure.
Okay. So, what are some things or challenges with writing that business plan that came up that you didn't have the answers to?
Well, escape rooms are relatively new. Like, I graduated from Johnson Wales in 2014, and at that time, there were only 26 escape rooms in the whole country.
Right.
So, now there are 2,600. So there's 1,000% increase over the 5 years, and still that makes it a new industry. No one really can see beyond a 5-year mark because there's
Right.
not like that information out there. Even though the first escape room started in like San Francisco in 2008 or 9 or like 10 or something, like around that time. So that was a challenge, just trying to like get some idea of what's going to happen and like what's the future for these types of rooms and everything. But I wouldn't say that was too challenging. I have to think about it for a second.
What about like how are you gonna make money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you come up with a price to charge people? How do you know how much rent's gonna cost? Like,
Right.
you have to build an escape room.
Yeah.
Not all businesses need to build something. Like, I just have to slap some paint on the wall and move in.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure that was difficult trying to put on a piece of paper
Yeah.
and not just do it.
So at first I was thinking about franchising, and this was
Right off the
great for
bat?
me. Yeah. Well, I was like, I knew I didn't want to build the rooms myself because I'm not a
You're not a general
I
contractor.
don't know how to make things. Like, I'm not an engineer. I don't barely know how electricity works. Never mind like designing a room like this.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't I just outsource that and see what happens? So I looked at that room that company I was talking about, the first ones that I was going to, LA Maze Rooms. Went on their website, franchising link. Right off the bat.
Oh, that's what you meant by franchise. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was like, you wanted to come up with an idea and start selling it as a franchise?
No,
I was like, that
no,
doesn't make sense.
that I should franchise it.
Yeah,
because
okay.
why
Because it's
not?
already has a business plan and it
Yeah,
works. And
exactly.
why didn't you choose to do that? Or
I'll
you're getting
get
there,
into that, yeah. So like, they had some stuff on their website that you can immediately access, and it was like their first year in business, their sales revenue, also their expenses and their startup cost.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing that was missing was the startup cost, but it had the like monthly expenses. So that gave me a good kind of benchmark on what to expect.
That's good.
And LA rent prices are the same as Newport for some reason, so it's kind of good that I looked at them right away. But then I started to reach out and be like, how much would it cost me to get like this room and this room? And their answers were like, it could be anywhere between 50 and 100 grand per room. And I'm just like, okay, that's a very big window.
It's a huge window.
Who's what? Like, and I was like, okay, how long will it take? And they're like, it could take 2 to 6, 7, 8 months. Just like, what do you mean? Like, can you not give me more specific answers?
Right.
And they just really didn't. And I didn't feel, when I was talking to them, like I really wanted to work with them because of that. I don't like this whole like, I'm not a millionaire. I don't have like, I need to write a budget and do my best at sticking to it. So also, it's I'd be giving them 10% of my revenue forever.
Right.
So it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I started looking at other escape room companies, and I realized.
It's top line revenue, I bet too.
What'd you say?
Was it top line revenue, like without expenses taken out of it?
Yeah,
Just your sales?
exactly.
Woo!
Exactly.
That's an expensive cut.
Yeah, 10%. Yeah.
That's an expensive cut.
Also, there's a licensing fee just to get the
Username,
Yeah,
and all that type of stuff, right?
that was like per room a payment as well. So no.
Most franchises are set up like that. What a lot of people relate it to is like you're kind of buying a job
Yeah.
rather than buying a business or building a business, So I'm glad you didn't go that route.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure, yeah.
Even though I love this company, I totally would recommend anyone to like go to do their rooms.
To
They're
do it,
awesome. Yeah. So I just started thinking like, let me just start Googling like escape room suppliers, like see who builds and manufactures rooms. And I realized there's a company that builds rooms for this company in LA a different one that I was going to. And then this company, like this room is rated like top 3 in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
And so I reached out to that company too about franchising, but they were also like, they gave this crazy number.
Okay.
So instead, I just went straight to the source, to the people that made their room, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is exactly how much it costs. This is exactly how long it's gonna take. This is like," they were like, "We'll help you. We'll like, we can design a lobby for you. We can
Sick.
speak in.
They want more sales. Right.
Consult you on things." And it's
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't I just cut out like the middleman and
Of
do it
course.
myself? So that's who I'm working with. This company is called Brainy Lab. They are amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to build an escape room, guys,
Yeah.
go talk to Brainy
They're awesome. Yeah. So that took time, like
Yeah.
trying to figure out all that stuff.
But these aren't just like anybody on the street. Like these are like they're creating the top 3 in LA escape room.
Yeah.
That's why I said like in the intro, this is gonna be a top of the line
It absolutely
escape
would be.
room.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the other ones in Rhode Island are fantastic, but this is gonna be the escape room of Rhode Island. You're gonna
Yeah.
want to be coming to Deanna's. And what's the name of it? Let's see.
Paradigm escape rooms.
Okay.
Paradigm.
Cool. Yeah, keep that in the back of your head. We'll be promoting stuff like crazy. I'm sure you will be. I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll be trying to help her out with marketing and stuff. But when can people expect to have this open? I know you don't want to give us a date. But
Yeah.
if there was a safe date to say, what would it be?
In a perfect world where everything goes according to plan, I would say that mid-October would be my most ideal thing, seeing
Yeah.
as my favorite holiday is Halloween.
Right.
And I feel like this is a very appropriate kind of month to get something like this out there.
For
Not
sure.
November. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll know more probably in a month how that date will look.
For sure. And you seem fearless going into Newport's down season and opening up a business. You know what I mean? Like you said, they get 3 million tourists, but those 3 million tourists are
Oh
coming
yeah.
between, I don't know, April and August and September probably, right?
Yeah.
So it's about half the year, but.
So especially with coronavirus.
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I put a huge part of business plan. In a big part of the business plan is like the tourism industry and talks about the market itself, and so that's where I'm like, this is in December, like November, I'm writing this. I'm like, 94 cruise ships come to Newport every year, like 3 million tourists.
Not this year.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny, but I've been. In the meantime, since I am a millennial entrepreneur, I've been waitressing back at my old restaurant in Newport just to make some money, and people are out. People are like not being kept down, which
For sure.
you could look at as a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not sure.
We'll leave that up to the viewers to
Lots of-
decide.
yeah. But even my restaurant's only down 15% from last year.
That's cool.
They're doing relatively well.
Yeah.
So I'm actually grateful that I didn't go right into doing something, because I was nervous about like not having any clue what Newport was like after not being there for 5 years, and having these last 2 months to get back working there and
Sure.
seeing that the city is very alive, talking to people firsthand, telling them what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
getting so much love in return, so much excitement.
I want to talk about that too, because
Yeah.
an owner doesn't build a business. Like, how many people, like, if you had a number in your head, like, that are helping you make this a reality outside of the guy that you met in Spain,
Yeah.
Nicholas, because there's more than just 2 people doing this.
So the initial meeting after Nicholas was like, I want to help you, blah, blah, was about, he sat me down, he's like, okay, you need a team, let's write out all the people that you're going to need. Of course, accountant, lawyer.
This isn't to scare anyone from starting a business,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to make it seem like this is a reality. You can actually go and find these people. So I don't mean to stop you, but sometimes when people are like, I don't know that many people who do that, like, it's okay, you can find them. But anyways, what were some of the people that you needed to go and find?
Accountant, lawyer, I needed construction, I needed marketing,
Right.
content creator, I obviously need employees. And the things that I thought were especially great that he said to me were you need someone that you can call because you're gonna be stressed out, and you absolutely need to have these people in your life. So I want you to go home and write them down, and like figure that out, as well as having a business mentor, as well as like finding someone that's worked in escape rooms before. And it kind of like trickled into like with the accountant, lawyer, and the insurance people. They all kind of knew each other.
Right.
I actually reached out to a family member, and they
referred me.
That took care of itself.
The gold standard of marketing is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Can you talk about this person? Not exactly who they are, but you're talking about someone who can be there for you when you're stressed out. Like, he made an actual point to say that when you're going through those growing pains, that you need someone to reach out to. That's huge. Yeah. Like, running perpetual motion marketing, if I could have been to someone on like a regular basis, I would have quit 15,000 times. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's awesome that he had the insight to say that to you.
For sure.
Yeah. So if you're starting a business, have a support system.
Yeah, like that team. It's not. These are people I see every day or work directly with, but people are they're so important to have. Yeah. I also found like on the escape room, on places on Facebook, the groups on Facebook. Yeah. Just kind of put it out there like, hey, is anyone like a mentor? Can I like reach out to someone? And that was so easy to find. Like, I have a woman in Canada that owned her own escape room for a few years, and now she teaches like business at a college. And, like,
that's awesome.
Perfect. So.
It's if you ask for help, most likely you're gonna get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're asking the right places. You know? Yeah.
And then you,
what?
just like coming out of nowhere with professional marketing.
Yeah, like
promotion marketing. Yeah, it's like perfect.
Yeah, I'm so excited to help you out. I'm like so excited. You're gonna be like I say this. I've already told you this, but like marketing in the escape room is gonna be a blast. Like we've talked about different campaigns for like leading up to opening and creating a little puzzle for the social media campaign. I don't know if you want to go through with this, but I think it's a cool idea, where you're trying to solve a puzzle to figure out when it's going to open, or like we'll get creative with it and stuff.
I wish I didn't tell people where it was already.
Right, I know.
Because I would be like, guess where it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know how many people are going to watch this. Maybe we can do that too. So yeah, we'll be able to figure it out. Yeah. And then like whoever solves the puzzle gets a prize or gets a free pass or whatever she decides she wants to do. But like, it's gonna be a lot of fun doing it. And then we got Josh McBride, by the way. Thank you so much for doing the video here today. We want to give a little plug. He's with Abnormal Angles, his own videography and photography company. I mean, doing a promotional video for an escape room is going to be a lot more fun than doing it for a construction company or a realtor. You know what I mean? Like, we could videotape a house, but an escape room and making it look like a party and all that stuff, it's going to be a blast. You know, I'm super excited for that.
So the first room is actually a room that's been designed by Da Vinci himself. Da Vinci has had so many people applying to be one of his students that he built this room in order to test each person, and only the smartest and the fastest will be deemed worthy of being his student. So that's one room, obviously set in the 1500s. Cool. Don't want to like spoil too much.
No, not too much. No, that's good. Okay.
The other room is, the whole premise is that you and your team are corrupt archaeologists, and you're trying to break into a temple, into a tomb rather, and steal this the secret ancient diamond that's supposedly in this tomb.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's enough. We don't need to give more than that information. Yeah. But you can imagine how fun it's going to be, especially with all this, like, someone's building out these rooms for you. And I can't wait to go. I'm super excited. Do you have, just because we're on the topic, you want to talk about like what you plan to do for marketing? Like if someone was starting a company and they don't have a lot of money to spend, like maybe with some of like the least expensive items, or if you have free marketing that you do, or maybe nothing. But
jeez, you know what? That's why I have you.
No, I know, right? But maybe something that you playing to your strengths. You seem to be good at delegating or finding people,
Exactly,
stuff like that.
yeah.
And a lot of it's been online, but I'm sure like
There-
you talked about people in Newport that you've run into that are going to be helping you too.
Yeah, there are actually like a ton of publications. For Newport being such a small town, there are like 15 newspapers, like, then there's all these magazines. I was gonna just
Right.
start there because a lot of people subscribe to like What's Up Newport and like those kind of.
Advertising not as expensive as I thought it was. Like there's some ads on the radio for
Yeah.
some of them less than $1,000 for like weeks and weeks of ad
Yeah.
play. So like I can only imagine being print can't be that expensive either. And so
Still haven't gotten really into.
haven't got into
figuring out that.
yeah. You have a plan for hiring employees or type of person that you're looking for? Like, so what if someone wants to come work for you?
Yeah, so that will probably be announced 2 weeks before the rooms start to get built.
Wow. Oh, built. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that's 2 weeks before opening's a little soon.
No, that'll probably be like 5 weeks before opening, just to kind of start putting it out there and everything.
Cool.
There's a couple of people I have invited because a lot of people that I know are in a very particular circumstance because of COVID-19.
Right.
A lot of people lost their jobs. I have a lot of teacher friends that don't want to go, like, they're going to have school again, they don't want to go back to school, and I've offered some of those people like to come to the location, but the kind of person I'm looking for would be someone that is really comfortable with storytelling,
Okay.
really makes people feel like they're in this realm, this different dimension, they have a really good attention to detail because they're called the game master, so they
Cool.
walk they explain everything to everyone and walk them through the whole game.
Okay.
Kind of keep an eye on them, give them hints if they need hints.
Sure.
Make sure they don't break anything. Please don't break
Right.
anything. And it'll be pretty chill. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I'm trying to think like other things that will go into having to actually open the place. Well, will you tell me what you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm still waiting for the contractor to come give me a quote on
Okay.
building. So I'm literally like at that phase.
You're just sitting there waiting.
And then I am designing myself. We'll have a beautiful lobby, and then we'll also have a private room. So if people want to do parties or
Okay.
I'm expecting a lot of corporate events, like corporate team building, stuff like that.
I think that would be really cool.
Or if someone wanted to propose to their wife or their husband.
Imagine that being the thing that you find.
Yeah, that's also something we'll offer as well. I could do that additionally.
Maybe Josh's girlfriend's listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
What about who? Obviously, you said the corporate events and stuff like that, but is this for kids? Could kids come and do this, or is it gonna be too scary for them?
That's
Is it gonna
something that I've been thinking about a lot. It's not going to be too scary for them.
Okay.
I think what other escape room owners worry about is kids breaking stuff.
For sure.
So a lot of them make it 18 plus, and they make it so that anyone under 18 has to have at least one 18-year-old in the room with them.
Okay.
I don't know, because it's Newport. A lot of parents want to bring their kids somewhere and come back and pick them up maybe or something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
So I'm trying to think of if I need just an extra liability form, and then I can allow something like that, maybe not really younger than 13.
So like a gym or something like that, or what do you mean?
No, if the parent doesn't want to do the room with the kids,
Got it.
will I allow them to just be in the room by themselves?
Sure.
I'm still trying to figure out where I can meet in the middle, because I know from the forums that a lot of parents don't really necessarily want to do the rooms with their kids, even though they should.
Right. Maybe it could be a family building exercise too, other than team building.
So I'm thinking
Sure.
13 or 12 or 13 plus, and then try to figure out if there'll be any exceptions with that. But a lot of it's just worrying about the kids.
Sure.
Breaking stuff, basically.
No, definitely. Is it gonna be crazy expensive because it's top of the line, or can pretty much anyone afford to be able to do the escape room?
So I'm following say like the national average. I'm like a little bit more than the national average for prices per ticket.
Where are they? Let's do a range, right? So what's like a really low end cost? I don't mean like it has to be low quality,
Yeah.
but like a low, not a lot to do
I'd
it.
say like, sorry.
No, go ahead. You know what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'd say like $15 a person would be like the super low end, the lowest I've ever seen.
What's like the highest you've ever seen it?
The highest, so.
No, really, I want to know.
It's usually something where you benefit in having more people. The more people, the less it costs.
Got it.
I have a structure in between that. So first of all, my rooms are all private, which means that you're not in a room with strangers because there are, or they were, I think everyone in the country has changed it now pretty much. There were rooms that allowed you to come in. They would sell like 10 tickets total, and you could buy just 3 with your team. You could also be in a room with like 4 other people from another, like, that know each other, and that's called a public booking.
Yeah.
I have all private rooms, so it's 1 to 6 people. It might be 1 to 7 or 8. I gotta see.
You could go by yourself.
Sorry. Oh my God, no.
I'm like, what?
2 to 6 people. 2
Okay.
to 6 people.
But you do it too. That's cool. But does it cost more for your structure for like having 2 people?
Yeah.
It does.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a room minimum.
Which makes sense. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's only so much time in the day. You want to be able to book
Yeah.
it and get the most out of the time. As a business, it just makes sense.
So the room minimum is, and this is for 2 or 3 players, is $100.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem making it like this because I've paid $45 to go like with my significant other to do this because I'm that in love with them and I'm happy to like.
That's not that expensive of a date either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go out to dinner and on Federal Hill, you're spending more than that.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
This is
So
more exciting.
2 people, $45 each. That doesn't.
Maybe $50 each, right? If it's $100 minimum.
$49. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
And then 3 people, it'll be about 33.
Okay.
And then it's 33 after.
So you're around like 33 a person
Yeah.
is around.
I also will be offering, I'm thinking a lot about this, discounts.
Okay.
And the industry standard is like military discounts and student discounts.
But you want to do something different.
I'm going to have first responder discounts and discounts for any teacher.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's so important to me that I give back to my community the best that I can, and that's what is motivating me so much, is like, I am going to add something to a city that's already so amazing, and I really want to know everyone that I can know, and I want to be a part of this community. And so like whatever I can do like for people, especially teachers and first responders who are so undervalued, like I would love to do whatever I can.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like the way you're thinking about it. Like you're adding on to a great, town or city.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. I want to try and wrap things up here a little bit.
Sure.
What's your definition of success? There's a reason I don't give you these questions before you come on.
Yeah, I've been asked that like every day.
Really?
I mean, that's such a big question. Like
Right.
when I was going to school for business. To me, it's just like, I guess success people equate with fulfillment, and it's like, okay, what is it that like fulfills you? And for me, it's just doing my best. Like it doesn't actually matter like what comes out of that as much as just making sure I wake up every day and I'm trying my best. I'm also like happy and grounded to be like while I'm doing these things. It's not the money or like whatever. It's not anything physical. It's just like, am I doing the best I can every day?
Right.
It's like, who knows if tomorrow is real, and I don't want to put my success on the things I think I want. I want that to be like, did I do a good job? Did I do my best today?
Today.
Yeah.
That's true.
And if I didn't, like, will I do my best tomorrow? Yeah, I'm gonna like absolutely do
That's
it.
something that like the 12 steps actually have like alcoholism. It's a great life lesson in there. I haven't gone through it, but I've just heard it a lot recently. Is people get worried, like, what do you mean I can't drink on 4th of July? I can't drink on Christmas? What about New Year's?
Yeah.
And they say, no, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you not to drink today. Can you do today?
Yeah.
You know? That's a magical thing. What can you do today? Right? That's awesome. Doing your best every day. That's your definition of success. I love that. And it gives you fulfillment, obviously, if you're doing hopefully if you're doing your best, right?
Exactly.
Cool. I just want to take a moment to I don't know if honor is the right word, but you're an amazing person. You're kind and generous with your time. Thank you for coming on here and giving people all this advice and information. You have an awesome story. You're definitely manifesting your own reality, and you are taking risks where other people, shy and hide away. You went to California on your own. You went to Spain. Now you're coming here and starting this. It's just unbelievable. Thank you for being you and everything. And I think I just want to wrap it up there. And thanks for coming on BYOB.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
of course.
being you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.